Guys, it's Daryl here. Happy Thursday. It is 4 a.m. on the dot here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I briefly want to talk about a Connecticut issue today, and it reflects back on Republican, Democrat, the situation in the entire country. So it's a microcosm, I believe, of what's happening overall in the entire country. All right, we have a governor here, Ned Lamont, Democrat. I voted for him. He's a businessman. I thought he had some really good ideas. Um, the states, okay, let's talk about our roads are terrible, terrible due to the weather, and where we 95 runs up our coast, 84 Route 84. We are the gateway to New England, going up to Boston and the whole rest of New England from New York City. We're in between two of the biggest cities in the country. New York, an hour to our south, and Boston, an hour to our north. Not to mention Providence, Rhode Island, Albany, New York, Washington, D.C. We're a main thoroughfare. So tens of thousands of trucks pass through our state every day. Um, the states around us all have tolls. New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island all have tolls. We are in bad, terrible need of fixing our roads. With the weather we have here, from 55 degrees one day to -5 the next day, the freezing and thawing, the potholes, plus this constant truck traffic, our aging bridges. As you guys remember, we had a bridge back in, I think it was Greenwich, back in the 80s collapse, the Byannis River collapse, bridge collapse, where I believe like about 3 or 4 people were killed. We've had bridge collapses here in Connecticut. They're getting old. Our infrastructure is, we're an older state, and some of our bridges are considerably old. Uh, our highways are in bad, all of our roads are in bad need of basically of constant maintenance due to all this traffic passing through our little state. So Ned Lamont, our current governor now, comes up with an idea for tolls. Now, there's a lot of resistance. It's a small state. A lot of people work, and they don't want to have to pay tolls every day to get to work. So it's a truck out of state truck only toll, and personally I think that's terrific, because we have to use, like, let's take Florida for instance. Florida, they just had the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl, which brings in massive tax revenue, massive. Not to mention Bike Week in Daytona. I was thinking about this, massive tax revenue. You have to use what your state has to make money, your natural gifts that your state, whatever your state has. And our state is the doorway. It is a main thoroughfare in up the East Coast. So personally, I believe we need to use that to create revenue. These trucks are passing through our state every day, pounding our roads. And all the states around us are charging not only the truck traffic, but the car traffic. So here's the problem. Here's where we get the microcosm. So our governor, Ned Lamont, comes up with the idea of trucks only, out of state, trucks only tolls. To me, it sounds fantastic. We need $19 billion immediately to fix our roads. There's a huge bridge. It's called the Mixmaster here in Waterbury, Connecticut. It's a huge assortment of bridges going over each other, and they've been up since the 60s, I believe. And it's in terrible need of repair. And there's bridges all over the state like this, roads and bridges. We need massive work on our roads. For a supposedly wealthy state, our roads are ridiculously bad. I mean, we've got like foot deep potholes that will total a car here. All right. So here's the issue. Republicans, all Republicans, and even some Democrats are, oh no tolls. Oh my God. Now, they don't have a better plan. mind you. They are just, because it's a demo. They despise that they are still angry that this Democratic governor won. It was a close contest. There's a lot of people that aren't happy that I think our little blue state is starting to slide red. There's more Trump supporters in this state. There's a lot of people, especially Republicans, that aren't happy with this governor. And basically, they don't have a better idea, but they will fight tooth and nail against any idea our current governor has because he's a Democrat. Anything, he doesn't want to put more taxes, God forbid. We are one of the most taxed states, the most taxed state in the nation right now. So, tolls, why not? Why not use our natural doorway to up and down the East Coast as a revenue creator? Not to mention the fact that all these companies are making money going through our state. It makes common sense. Otherwise, we are literally a doormat. So, all the Republicans and even some others are fighting tooth and nail. So the question is why? Why would you possibly be against this? The only reason these people that oppose tolls can come up with is that, well, we're going to pay for it because these companies are going to raise prices on our products if we charge them tolls. And to me, it sounds like such a wussy ass crybaby. Oh no, I'm afraid Walmart's going to charge me a nickel more for milk. And all the states around us are already charging tolls. Now, first of all, I think it's nonsense that a company is going to single out to put higher prices in Connecticut just because we're joining the rest of the states to charge tolls. There's a lot of smaller trucking companies that claim it's going to cost them $600,000 a year, $60,000 a year. But it's an out-of-state trucks. So these in-state trucking companies, that's a null argument because they're not going to be charged these tolls. There's no good argument against these tolls other than the Democratic governor that they despise came up with the idea. So we asked them, what's your alternative plan? A lot of the Republicans started talking about taking apart. They think that UConn, some of our education institutions are paying too much out in retirement. They've made promises to the people, the teachers, the staff of UConn for retirement, and a lot of people think that they should renegotiate these contracts, which would be going back on. UConn has been a big boon for this country, for this state. And another thing too is the aging baby boomers. A lot of the teachers, a lot of the staff, I believe in UConn, are aging out, and we're kind of a victim of what's going on in the whole country, where a lot of people are retiring and moving out at the same time, and we're paying a lot in retirement and benefits for people retiring. And that's not the problem. That's not the people that are retiring. It's not their fault that they're a certain age and retiring, and they should lose their retirement benefits. So anyway, this is what happened yesterday. Even the Democrats keep putting off the vote. The Republicans are fighting this toll tooth and nail. The Democrats have been putting off the vote week after week after month after month for 6 months because they want to prepare. So they're afraid that there's overwhelming fight against these tolls. And again, it goes back to the fact that a lot of people just don't like Ned Lamont. They wanted the Republican candidate to win for governor. There's no good reason. There's nothing Lamont has done in the last year that's been bad for the state at all. He's come up with new good ideas. So Lamont had enough yesterday, and he was pissed yesterday on TV. And he says, you know what? I'm taking it off the table. Forget it. He says, I'm going to bond the $19 billion we need for the roads right now. I'm going to borrow it, because these roads have to be fixed. And And we can't get a freaking vote on the tolls from anybody, even from the Democrats. So you know what? We're just going to borrow the freaking money for now so we can fix the roads. And so I put a few posts on Facebook. Okay, it's in your hands now, Republicans. What's your answer? Quick, because these roads are falling apart. This interstate trucks are passing through, pounding our roads every day into oblivion. So come on, you got a better idea. Come up with it quick, man, because we need $19 billion pronto. And again, I'm so aggravated because it's not that they have a better idea. It's just that they despise a good idea because of who it came from. It's politics. It's politics. Again, there's so many people complain about taxes. You see a lot of Republicans, they don't want to pay for school or health care because they don't have kids, because their kids are older, or because, and it's just part of being a society that sometimes you're going to have to pay taxes. You use the roads, so many Republicans are so against. Don't get me wrong, I'm not for taxes, but there's inevitable costs in life when you live in a society. We have a fire, we have firemen, we have policemen, we have ambulances, and these things in schools, and these things need to be paid for. Yeah, taxes suck, but they're part of life. Get used to it and stop bitching about it. And this was a good idea, I felt, to not go the tax route and charge people using a natural part of our state to get revenue. The fact that we are the doorway, and so many trucks have to they have to go through Connecticut. There is no easy way not to go through our state. You'd have to go all the way up through New York State and then over, and it'd be hundreds of miles further. There is no other way but through our state. Why not use that, as all the other states around us are? So anyway, yesterday, Lamont just got fed up and took it off the table, and said, you know what? We're going to borrow it. We need the money. So unless you got a better idea, we're getting further in debt. And it's probably going to be more higher taxes if somebody can't come up, if you're so against it, what's your better idea? So Connecticut Republicans, what's your better idea? Like I said, and I think it's a microcosm of the country in general. But anyway, that's what's going on in Connecticut. There's also some interesting stuff I'll talk about maybe in another video. There's a big fight about vaccine legislation. People have stayed overnight for 25 hours in a meeting from yesterday morning overnight into this morning for a chance to talk in this meeting about religious exemptions for vaccines. And it was a huge turnout for this meeting, where both sides are arguing that their kids should be allowed to opt out of vaccines and still go to public schools, which I don't agree with. I am not an anti-vaxxer at all. I think there's a real big danger of that stuff coming back, polio, measles, as we've already seen a little bit. So anyway, that's enough. That's something for another video. All right, you guys have a great Thursday.